Off the cuff. That JoLynn Harrison, she's
Say what? Say what? Got it.
off the cuff.
Welcome to another episode of Off the Cuff. My special guest today is James Jones, owner and operator of Jamestock. James, how you doing?
Thank you very much for having me. Doing
You're
great.
quite welcome. It's been a long time. We should have done this a while ago, but hey, here we are.
Here we are.
All right, so what we want to do is everybody's going to know, if they don't know about Jamestock, they're going to know about Jamestock after this, and then they're going to be more interested, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So how to get started?
Well, someone suggested I have a party for my birthday this year, and it kind of snowballed. Lee Robinson and I had a short conversation about having some musical guests there. He and Jeff were going to do something. Other people found out I was having a party. There was a whole lot of people. Hey, can my band play? Tom Elfont, hey, can Heaven play? We'll be there. And on and on. And then Tommy Ryan from The Gray, they wanted to come. They were a man down that show. Kerry Becker did not make it, but he was here for the second party. And it just came from there.
So to do all this with all these bands, you had to do some kind of a platform. Is that true?
Yeah, when me and Lee first spoke and we're talking about it, I thought about doing it maybe in the garage or on the carport in front of the garage, and we needed some kind of good structure for the band to be on. And then a neighbor of mine, Kevin Goodwin, he suggested, he says I said it, I say he says it, he said, let's build a stage. So we built a stage.
A massive stage.
Yes, 20 by 40 with a 4 foot by 10 foot bump out in the front and a tarped roof for keep the equipment all dry at night in the band. Since then, I've added a drum riser and some steps and some more lighting. We have a rigging on the stage that Trey Richardson brought over to use. That was the original stage rigging for a band called Blizzard that some of you may have heard of before from the Durham area, and was a band Trey's uncle Billy Bazin, the amazing Billy Bazin, actually started.
So from your birthday, which everybody went to, and I got to tell the audience about James. James is the biggest supporter of original music, cover music. He's at every event. Everybody loves James, and you're kind of a big shot around town. I mean, everybody just loves you, and you're so humble. And now you have all these people come to your house, and all of these other people that jam. They want to jam, and they're getting bigger and better.
Yeah, it's kind of, like I said, snowballed. It worked out. I had room to have it. The farm there I live on has been passed down a couple generations. My grandfather bought it in 1910. It was a tobacco farm back then. My father did the same thing. He farmed it. Two Falls Lake came in, and that took about half the property. So the remaining amount, which is close to 50 acres, I don't have neighbors real close, so it works out good. Open areas, to park and that sort of thing. So it's nice to have everybody in. We have a great problem here in Raleigh, which is a lot of musical talent. I have more bands wanting to play each time than I have room for, and so I'm hoping to continue to have shows to get everybody in. Summer's been back twice for both shows, which is great. That everybody comes, has a great time, we have good food, and it's a good atmosphere.
So tell us a little more about the Jamestock Farms.
Well, as I mentioned, it's been a tobacco farm for some time until the Falls Lake was built and some land was purchased by the federal government for that, and it was pretty much not enough left to really farm and have good yield on tobacco. So we replanted land in pines, loblolly pines, reforestation project, and that's been cut and replanted again coming up this January for the second time. And I have some other areas that's been planted in between there that's growing while this was starting. Yeah, it's a great way to get a little return on the property, and it's good for the environment. It's good for the wildlife. We're near the game lands for the state there, joins the property. So
is it true that stray dogs come to your property and end up with an owner and they take
every
them home?
time Stephen Toback shows up, a stray dog shows up. Don't know if there's any correlation, but yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
It happens.
That's pretty cool. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about what's next for Jamestock. Stick around. Welcome back to Off the Cuff. So, James Jones is our guest, and what happened since the birthday party?
Well, all the people that were gracious enough to come play in the bands, they wanted to do more. They said everybody enjoyed it, the crowd. They said, let's have another party. So I thought, well, Halloween's coming up. It'll be a cooler time of year. It was kind of hot in June. So we planned Halloween Fest. We had an outpouring of bands wanting to play there as well. And we went out with a great lineup, and we had a new opener this time, which was Max Frye, and 7 other awesome bands.
It was a great time. It was a really, really good time. Everybody came with costumes. There were so many people there. It was like Woodstock. I mean, it's getting bigger and better every time. And these bands come in and they want to do the show, and they come in and they do it for free. Because it's a community. It's a community, right? Jamestown, right?
Very good.
And then you have the Kool-Aid, yeah. Tell me.
So what I have done for this last show, after a conversation between Steve and I, Tony Rock, and talked about this same kind of thing, I'm doing a donation box, and all the proceeds were split between the bands, the performers that were there. And it's a way to kind of, I mean, at least at first it's gas money. Hopefully it'll build up over time, where if I later have more of a venue there. I'm thinking of plans of maybe moving the stage this coming year. It'll kind of lead up to something a little bigger and better.
So the Halloween party was a blast. There was a lot of great musicians there, and everybody's costumes, and everybody had a good time. Before the Halloween party, you had a national artist come to your show, didn't you?
I actually did. We had Janet Robin do a more intimate show there. She's a singer-songwriter from L.A. who's recorded at Johnny Cash Cabins. Long ago, she was acquainted with Mr. Stephen Toback, who you may have heard mentioned before.
Again, with Steve Toback.
And he's been a big part of this. And I like to give credit where credit's due. And he had a band out in L.A. long ago who actually opened up for her band she was in at the time called Precious Metal. And he became acquainted with her. And through the magic of Facebook, they reconnected years later. And she done a tour, mostly the East Coast, and my backyard is one of the stops.
All right, so what's next for Jamestock?
Well, hopefully bigger and better things. Moving the stage, having a larger area for the crowd to view, and showcasing this awesome talent we have in this area. There's so many bands and so many talented people out there, one who we're going to see from in a few minutes. But there's just venues are closing here and there. We're losing places. Being out there at my place, I think the appeal to people is a little more relaxed. You're not,
You mentioned Max Frye, who's our musical guest. Mm-hmm. So we're going to hear from Max Frye. We're going to interview him, and he's going to do some shredding. And I think he does a little bit of the off-the-cuff shredding. I think that's pretty cool. But you introduced us after I saw him on stage, and I mean, it was great. It's great, and I can't wait to interview him and see him.
Yeah, it's great to see talent in this area still coming.
And more is going to come. So everybody, make sure you get in touch with Jamestock on Facebook. Where do they find you?
I have a page called Jamestock Forever, which is dedicated to the events, and myself, James Jones.
Flotsam and...
That is Flotsam and Jetsam. That's one of my favorite bands. Yeah, that's what I call pure metal.
That's pure metal? Are you going to try to get them?
Oh, God, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? All right, when we come back, Max Frye, stick around. back to Off the Cuff. My musical guest is Max Frye, and you just heard him ripping Crazy Train. That was freaking amazing, I gotta tell you.
Thank you.
So, let's see. I want to know, like, when did you... 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Max, 14 years old. I mean, this kid's on his way to the big time,
Thank
right?
you.
So, like, when did you pick up a guitar and say, I want to do this?
Well, I started seriously probably when I was about 11, the summer of 6th grade. That's when it really started drawing me in.
So what made you do it? Like, who'd you listen to say, I want to do that?
It was mainly Hendrix and Clapton, and then I just slowly started moving into metal, and I didn't really stop at all.
So that's probably like mom and dad's fault for like cranking Hendrix and like
Yep,
all the old
it
stuff
is.
that I grew up with. I'm showing my age. So like, what are your influences? Like, who do you admire? Who do you try to be as good as?
Definitely Dimebag Darrell from Pantera. He's my all-time favorite guitarist, and Randy Rhoads mainly.
Yep. You can hear it in your solos. You are playing in a band, a cover band.
Yeah, I'm in a band called Osmosis. We gig around the North Carolina area, and yeah, I've been in that band for a couple months now.
Well, that's pretty cool. So when you were learning, did you play by tabs? Did you watch YouTube? Did you watch Randy Rhoads and copy everything he did?
Mainly a mixture of all. My main is YouTube, but you know, some of the songs are deep cuts, so when I have lessons for them. So
You got to figure it out,
yeah,
which is good. To be a
Yeah.
musician, you really have
it's
to kind of
definitely
like...
good for the ear.
Right, exactly. So, mom and dad, you're proud of your kid or what? I mean,
Understatement.
understatement.
For a lottery.
What about like siblings, brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I got a older brother who's into blowing glass and a little bit of drums, and I got a younger brother who's really into basketball, and he's a great skateboarder.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool. So, like, everybody's involved with something.
Yeah.
I really dig that. I really do that. So, what's the future hold for Max Frye?
Well, right now I'm trying to get my own metal original band going. You know, I'm influenced by thrash and doom and death and groove metal, just all across the map. So I'm looking to start something and really just kind of go in a new way with it, but still have the old influences.
So, writing, that's pretty cool. But, yeah, so you're going to play a little more before we end the show. So,
I am.
this is Max Frye. Give it up for Max Frye. He's the next
for having
Randy Rhoads,
Aw.
and the kid's amazing. I
Thank
mean, you do a great job. I really love what you do. When I first saw Max, it was at Jamestock, and I was blown away by him. And I'm like, who is this guy that's just up there shredding? And, you know, then we got to meet each other, and here you are. I'm Off the Cuff.
Yeah, thank you for
So,
having
having a
me.
good time?
I'm-
Great. Well, it was great having you on the show.
Thank you.
I want the audience, everybody out there, to look out for Max Frye, because he's going to be a big shot one day, and you're going to be paying a lot of money to go see him.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot for watching Off the Cuff.
Gas tape!
All right, here we go. Opening segment, episode 11, Off the Cuff, take 2.